The geopolitical landscape of the Middle East is currently gripped by a potent cocktail of escalating conflict, strategic indecision, and unexpected diplomatic maneuvers, all converging around the actions and perceived influence of former U.S. President Donald Trump. As regional tensions simmer, a critical two-week delay in a pivotal U.S. decision regarding potential strikes on Iran has left a key ally, Israel, in a precarious state of limbo, while surprisingly a Nobel Peace Prize nomination for Trump emerges from an unlikely corner. The immediate backdrop to this uncertainty is the intensifying conflict between Iran and Israel, now reportedly in its 8th day. According to the Washington Post, Iranian strikes have already hit Haifa, signaling a significant escalation and broadening of the conflict. This direct targeting of Israeli urban centers underscores the severity of the situation and the immediate threat Israel faces. Intensifying calls for robust international support and a clear strategic response. Amidst this volatile environment, CNN reports that former President Trump has instituted a two-week delay on a decision regarding potential U.S. military action against Iran. This strategic pause, while perhaps intended to de-escalate or allow for further intelligence gathering, has undeniably placed Israel in a difficult position, caught between an active threat and an uncertain commitment from its primary security guarantor. The delay raises questions about the U.S.'s immediate response strategy, potentially impacting Israel's defensive posture and its own retaliatory calculations. Such a prolonged period of indecision in a high-stakes conflict could be interpreted in various ways: as a calculated move to avoid deeper entanglement, a lack of clear consensus within U.S. strategic circles, or a reflection of the political complexities inherent in any military intervention. This unfolding drama naturally intersects with Trump's broader political standing. While The Economist has published analysis on Donald Trump's approval rating, the precise implications for his current decision-making are subject to ongoing debate. Any major foreign policy decision, particularly one involving military action, invariably carries significant domestic political weight, influencing public perception and electoral prospects. The delay could be a reflection of an internal calculus balancing geopolitical imperative with a desire to maintain or improve public support. Adding another intriguing layer to this complex narrative, Reuters has reported that Pakistan intends to nominate Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. This unexpected development, occurring concurrently with escalating conflict and strategic ambiguity, presents a stark contrast to the immediate crisis. While the specifics of Pakistan's reasoning are not detailed in the available information, such a nomination often stems from perceived efforts towards de-escalation, brokering peace, or preventing wider conflict, even if these efforts are not universally acknowledged or directly evident in the current situation. It highlights the multifaceted and often contradictory international perceptions of Trump's diplomatic impact, even as the region teeters on the brink of wider conflagration. Looking ahead, the next 2 weeks will be critical. Israel remains in a state of heightened alert, navigating the ongoing Iranian strikes without a definitive U.S. commitment. The outcome of Trump's delayed decision will profoundly shape the trajectory of the Iran-Israel conflict, influencing regional stability and the broader international response. Whether the pause leads to a diplomatic breakthrough, a more decisive military posture, or a continued state of strategic ambiguity remains to be seen. The confluence of escalating hostilities, the uncertainty of U.S. intervention, and the surprising diplomatic overtures paint a picture of a profoundly uncertain future for the Middle East, with global implications hanging in the balance. In an era where digital platforms serve as the primary conduits for public discourse, a flurry of recent headlines offers a multifaceted snapshot of former President Donald Trump's ongoing presence in the national conversation. From social media pronouncements to potential policy shifts and legal engagements, these reports emerging just this past week underscore a dynamic and continuously evolving political landscape. Among the notable reports, MSNBC News highlighted a particular incident on Juneteenth, detailing a rant by Trump on his social media platform Truth Social. Published on Saturday, June 21, 2025, the headline characterized this statement as part of a nasty history, suggesting a continuation of controversial rhetoric from the former president. while the specific content of the alleged rant was not immediately available in the provided information. The report points to the persistent role of personalized social media platforms as stages for high-profile political commentary, often sparking immediate public and media reactions. This incident, occurring on a significant national holiday commemorating the end of slavery, further amplifies the scrutiny surrounding such pronouncements and their historical context. Concurrently, another significant development emerged from the Harvard Crimson on Friday, June 20, 2025. According to their report, Trump claimed that Harvard University is engaged in talks with the White House regarding a historic settlement. The nature and specifics of this purported settlement remain undisclosed in the available information, leaving room for speculation regarding its implications for higher education legal precedents or potential policy shifts. Such a claim, if substantiated, could signal a significant engagement between the current administration and a prominent academic institution, possibly affecting admissions policies, funding, or other educational frameworks. Adding to the week's news, Reuters reported on Friday, June 20, 2025, that Trump indicated he may change his mind about firing Fed Chair Powell. This statement introduces a layer of uncertainty regarding the future of the Federal Reserve's leadership and, by extension, the direction of U.S. monetary policy. Jerome Powell's tenure as Fed chair has been a subject of previous criticism from Trump, and any reconsideration of his position could signal a shift in approach or strategy regarding economic governance. The potential for such a change, even as a speculative comment, carries weight given the Fed's critical role in managing inflation, employment, and overall economic stability. Finally, The Economist contributed to the broader narrative with a report on Saturday, June 21, 2025, focusing on Donald Trump's approval rating. While the specific data or analytical insights from the article were not provided, its mere existence underscores the ongoing public and political interest in gauging popular sentiment towards the former president. Approval ratings serve as key indicators of political standing and potential electoral viability, and their fluctuations are closely watched by political strategists, analysts, and the public alike. The continuous assessment of his approval rating highlights the enduring relevance of public opinion in shaping political narratives and future prospects. Collectively, these headlines paint a picture of a figure who remains deeply entrenched in public discourse across multiple domains, from social media to legal disputes, economic policy, and public perception. The lack of detailed content from the underlying articles means that the full context and impact of these events are yet to be fully understood. However, the themes emerging from these titles suggest a continued pattern of high-stakes engagements and controversial statements, reinforcing the idea that Donald Trump remains a central, often polarizing figure in contemporary American politics. As these stories continue to unfold, the public will undoubtedly be watching for further developments and clarifications on these significant claims and reports. The political landscape continues to churn, with a potent mix of geopolitical tension, evolving political branding, and the persistent narrative of comebacks, all underscored by the dominant figures shaping public discourse. As of Saturday, June 21, 2025, the headlines painted a vivid picture of a week marked by high-stakes diplomacy and the enduring influence of a former president. At the forefront of global attention, former President Donald Trump issued a new ultimatum concerning Iran, a development reported by NPR. This move signals a continued assertive stance on foreign policy, reminiscent of his previous administration's approach to the Middle East. The precise details of the ultimatum and its immediate implications remain under close scrutiny, but such declarations invariably ripple through international relations, potentially escalating regional tensions or forcing new diplomatic realignments. Adding to the week's geopolitical developments, the same NPR report also noted the release of Mahmoud Khalil, an event whose full context and significance are still unfolding but could indicate shifts in regional power dynamics or ongoing negotiations. Domestically, the very nature of political power and public perception continues to be redefined. The Guardian offered a sharp analysis, observing that this presidency is a brand franchise, asserting that Trump has elevated the commercialization of politics to an unprecedented level. This perspective highlights how modern political figures, particularly those with a background in business and media, increasingly leverage personal brand identity and direct public engagement as central pillars of their political strategy. The implications of such a brand franchise approach are profound, blurring the lines between political governance and commercial enterprise, and fundamentally altering how political loyalty and public support are cultivated. This marketing-driven approach to leadership, distinct from traditional political campaigning, often sees policies and public statements as extensions of a personal brand designed to resonate with a specific consumer base rather than a broad electorate. Meanwhile, the ebb and flow of political fortunes were further illuminated by The Economist, which provided an update on Donald Trump's approval rating. While specific figures were not detailed in the available summaries, the mere mention underscores the constant barometer of public opinion that shapes political narratives and future aspirations. Approval ratings serve as a critical pulse check, influencing everything from party strategy to individual politicians' decisions on future bids for office. In a parallel narrative of political ambition and redemption, CNN reported on Andrew Cuomo's efforts to seek restoration following Donald Trump's own political trajectory. This report casts the two prominent figures from Queens in a fascinating light, suggesting a potential template for political comebacks in an era where public perception can be rapidly reshaped. Cuomo's apparent bid to reclaim a prominent role in public life, especially after facing significant challenges, illustrates the persistent allure of power and the complex pathways to political rehabilitation. The comparison to Trump's own journey back into the political spotlight after his presidency offers a compelling study in resilience, public forgiveness, or perhaps the short memory of the political cycle. Taken together, the week's news underscores a dynamic and often unpredictable political climate. Donald Trump remains a central magnetic force, capable of dictating both international headlines and domestic political discourse through his unique blend of policy pronouncements and brand-centric leadership. His actions continue to shape geopolitical landscapes while simultaneously challenging traditional notions of political engagement and governance. The ongoing assessment of his public standing, coupled with the resurgence efforts of figures like Andrew Cuomo, points to a broader trend where personal narratives, media savvy, and relentless campaigning are as crucial as policy platforms. As the political calendar advances, the interplay between these powerful personalities and the evolving expectations of the electorate will undoubtedly continue to define the contours of power and influence. In the dynamic landscape of modern political discourse, few topics generate as much fervent debate and detailed scrutiny as the economic performance and public perception of a former U.S. president. Recent reports, drawing from a spectrum of prominent news outlets, continue to dissect the multifaceted legacy of Donald Trump's time in office, particularly concerning economic indicators and his enduring approval ratings, offering a mosaic of perspectives that often challenge conventional wisdom. One key measure of public sentiment, the approval rating, remains a crucial barometer for assessing a political figure's standing. As reported by The Economist on June 21, 2025, the analysis of Donald Trump's approval rating continues to be a subject of intense interest. While specific figures are not detailed, such reports typically delve into the demographics and political affiliations shaping public opinion, reflecting the complex interplay of policy outcomes, media narratives, and partisan loyalties that influence how a leader is perceived. These ratings are not merely numbers. They represent a continuous public referendum on leadership and its perceived impact on daily lives. Shifting to the economic sphere, the Trump administration's approach to data and its preferred metrics have frequently been a focal point of discussion. Axios on June 21, 2025 highlighted the Trump administration's favorite economic data point, underscoring how specific indicators can be selectively emphasized to bolster a particular narrative. This often involves a focus on metrics like gross domestic product, GDP growth, employment figures, or stock market performance, which can be interpreted differently depending on the chosen baseline and comparative periods. TheUnionLeader.com, in a piece by Patrick Hines published June 21, 2025, went further, asserting that Trump's economy proves the experts wrong again. This perspective often champions the idea that non-traditional economic policies or a focus on deregulation and tax cuts can yield unexpected positive results, defying the predictions of more mainstream economists. Such arguments frequently point to periods of low unemployment or sustained growth during his term as evidence of success, challenging established economic models and predictions. Beyond broad economic performance, specific policy proposals and their potential economic impact also garner significant attention. CNN reported on June 20, 2025 on Trump's assertion that America has too many national holidays and that they are hurting the economy. This particular stance sparks a debate balancing worker productivity against the economic stimulus generated by holiday spending in tourism. Proponents of fewer holidays might argue for increased workdays and output, while critics would highlight the importance of leisure for worker well-being and the economic activity spurred by travel, retail, and hospitality during these breaks. The discussion around such seemingly minor policy points often reveals deeper philosophical divides on the role of government, the nature of economic growth, and societal values. The ongoing discourse surrounding these varied aspects of the Trump era, from public approval to economic data interpretation and specific policy debates, illustrates the enduring impact of his presidency on both the American economy and its political landscape. The differing analyses from various news organizations underscore the fragmented nature of public information and the partisan lenses through which economic realities are often viewed. As the nation moves forward, the lessons drawn from these assessments will undoubtedly continue to inform future policy discussions and shape the public's understanding of economic prosperity and governance. The continuous re-evaluation of these historical periods, informed by new data and evolving perspectives, will remain crucial for understanding the trajectory of the nation's economic and political future. The intricate web of global politics and technological governance is currently under immense strain. As recent developments highlight escalating defense demands from the United States alongside ongoing legal battles over digital transparency within government. This confluence of events, from high-stakes international negotiations to courtroom decisions on digital communication, underscores a period of significant re-evaluation for nations worldwide. A notable friction point emerged recently when Japan reportedly scrapped a planned meeting with Washington, according to a Reuters report on Saturday, June 21, 2025. The core of the disagreement stems from Washington's persistent demands for increased defense spending from its allies. This push for greater contributions is not isolated. A report from Ukrainian national news also on Saturday, June 21, 2025 revealed that the U.S. is now advocating for its Asian allies to allocate as much as 5% of their gross domestic product (GDP) to defense. This ambitious target represents a substantial increase for many nations, potentially straining their economies and internal political landscapes. The American stance appears to be driven by a desire for greater burden sharing in the face of evolving geopolitical threats and a perceived need to bolster collective security in key strategic regions. For allies like Japan already navigating complex regional security dynamics, such a demand necessitates a delicate balance between national sovereignty, economic realities, and alliance commitments. The immediate impact of this disagreement is a pause in direct high-level dialogue, signaling potential challenges ahead for alliance cohesion and strategic alignment, even as the U.S. Department of Defense continues its internal restructuring, evidenced by its general officer announcements on Friday, June 20, 2025, reflecting ongoing strategic adjustments within its own ranks. Meanwhile, on the domestic front, the intersection of technology and government accountability remains a contentious arena. A federal judge on Friday, June 20, 2025, declined to order former Trump administration officials to recover deleted signal messages, as reported by NPR. This decision carries significant implications for the future of digital record-keeping and transparency in official government communications. Signal, known for its end-to-end encryption and ephemeral message capabilities, poses unique challenges to traditional archival practices and public records laws. The ruling suggests a judicial reluctance to mandate the recovery of data from such platforms, potentially setting a precedent that could complicate efforts to ensure accountability and maintain a comprehensive historical record of government actions. Critics argue that such decisions could create loopholes for officials to evade scrutiny, while proponents might point to privacy considerations and the practical difficulties of retrieving encrypted deleted communications. This legal outcome throws into sharp relief the ongoing struggle to adapt existing legal frameworks to the rapid evolution of digital communication technologies, particularly when they are adopted for official use by public servants. Looking ahead, the global landscape will likely continue to be shaped by these intertwined forces. Nations will grapple with the economic and political implications of increased defense spending, potentially leading to reconfigured alliances and shifts in global power dynamics. Concurrently, the legal and ethical debates surrounding digital transparency in government are far from settled. As technology continues to advance, the challenge of balancing privacy with accountability and operational efficiency with historical preservation will only intensify, demanding innovative solutions and robust legislative responses to ensure democratic oversight in an increasingly digital world. The volatile geopolitical landscape of the Middle East has entered a new perilous phase as the Israel-Iran conflict stretches into its ninth day, marked by significant escalations and the stark collapse of diplomatic efforts. On Saturday, June 21, 2025, The Washington Post reported a critical development: Iranian strikes have directly hit Haifa, signaling a dangerous expansion of the conflict's geographical reach and intensity. This incident underscores the escalating nature of hostilities that, as NBC News simultaneously noted, has now crossed the threshold into its ninth day with little hope for immediate de-escalation. The strikes on Haifa represent a serious intensification, moving beyond previous engagements and impacting a key Israeli city. This development, confirmed by The Washington Post on Saturday, June 21, 2025, indicates a willingness by Iran to target deeper into Israeli territory, raising concerns about potential retaliatory actions and a wider regional conflagration. The prolonged nature of the conflict, now extending over a week, highlights the deep-seated tensions and the challenging environment for any resolution. Compounding the military escalation is the grim reality on the diplomatic front. Prospects for peace have dramatically dimmed. A sentiment echoed across major news outlets. Just a day prior, on Friday, June 20, 2025, ABC News published an analysis directly attributing this diplomatic faltering to former President Trump's rejection of European efforts aimed at de-escalating tensions with Iran. This crucial refusal to engage with established mediation attempts appears to have effectively shut down a potential avenue for dialogue, leaving the warring parties without a clear diplomatic off-ramp. The consistent reporting from NBC News on June 21, 2025 further reinforces that diplomacy has indeed faltered, leaving the military option as the primary and increasingly dangerous mode of interaction. The current situation paints a concerning picture: a conflict rapidly escalating militarily, coupled with a complete breakdown in international mediation efforts. The rejection of European diplomatic overtures suggests a hardening of positions, making future negotiations incredibly difficult. Without a viable diplomatic channel, the risk of miscalculation, unintended escalation, and widespread regional instability grows exponentially. The events of the past week, culminating in the Haifa strikes and the confirmed failure of diplomacy, suggest that the region is bracing for further turbulence. The absence of a multilateral framework for de-escalation, particularly with key international actors like the United States seemingly disengaged from or actively rejecting mediation, leaves the path forward shrouded in uncertainty and the ever-present threat of a broader, more devastating confrontation.